It's really important before you actually go firm into an agreement to have conditions in place to review all of that beforehand. Really, a condition of financing. Not all lenders will lend in cottage country or to all types of properties. If you're thinking about buying a cottage in the near future, then you definitely want to avoid any of these three mistakes we're going to talk about today. David, Purdy, and we led a training session a few weeks ago, right, David? Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, and we were leading a session for other agents on purchasing cottage properties. But I know I had a lot of people that I know personally ask actually about them and what I would recommend. So we thought we'd hop on and share the three mistakes that we see and go over them so that you don't have to make those mistakes. I'll let David start. What would be the big mistake you want people to avoid when they're looking to purchase a cottage?
Absolutely. So the number one red flag I see when we're looking at cottages is poorly maintained infrastructure and maybe some potentially expensive repairs down the road. Much like many other rural properties, most cottages are not going to be on municipal services. So that means you're maintaining your own well, septic, or maybe even a lake water system. So the pumps and tanks and everything that are involved with that. So having an agent that can take you through that process of making sure those all work, making sure you have the inspection for the septic is really important because that's going to save you a lot of cost and aggravation down the road, knowing that that works, and just having a full understanding of all of that. As well, many cottages, they're in families for some of them are families for multiple generations, and sometimes there's a lot of deferred maintenance on those properties, and being able to identify that and the things that are going to be expensive right away versus what you can live with is really important. Um, so yeah, that's one of the number one things that comes up time and time again, and going through that and being very fastidious is very important. And what about you?
Agree. No, I agree. It's so important. Those expenses can really add up, especially if you weren't expecting them. And kind of tied into yours, a common mistake I see is related to financing. Again, because of those unique features of cottages that you mentioned, right? So oftentimes properties, like David mentioned, are not on municipal services. They've been in families for a long time. And so these structures require or have different financing and insurance needs. Let's put it that way. So it's really important before you actually go firm into an agreement to have conditions in place to review all of that beforehand. Really, a condition of financing. Not all lenders will lend in cottage country or to all types of properties, particularly even differences in financing a 3-season versus a 4-season cottage. And same with insurance providers. They'll have different requirements regarding heating, for example. So is your cottage truly 4-season, or is it heated by a wood stove? Some insurers will not take on properties like that. And you don't want to find that out after you've already gone firm on an offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good time to reiterate is, as real estate agents, we don't know everything, but it's important that you have a real estate agent that knows which questions to ask and can surround you with a team of experts who can ask those questions. So whether it comes to maintenance and infrastructure or the insurance and the financing side of things, having those people in place right from the beginning will make the process go so much more smoothly.
Oh, exactly. That key word there, I would say, is team. It's a different team required when you move into a different property type and even different location. And then I think for us, I wouldn't be surprised if your other big mistake is the same as mine. And I'm thinking lifestyle.
100%.
Yeah.
The number one red flag is choosing the wrong location for your lifestyle. And by location, that could be, what type of lake you're on. Are there restrictions on boating, or is it going to be too busy for you if it's a really busy lake with a lot of big boats?
Yes. Even like in terms of amenities, like I know you're up in the Kawarthas and you have a very different cottage life than the areas I work in. So Dave's up in the Kawarthas, kind of Bancroft area. I am in on the Lake Huron area from, Port Elgin up into Oliphant, and we're more beach towns
Mhm.
and beach lives. So there's different activities to be had in those two locations, and even the types of businesses that are available, how quickly you can get to them, whether they're offered seasonally or all year. That really varies depending on the area. And it's so important to find the one that matches your lifestyle and what you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to end up there and want to do things, and it's not going to be anything as you expected or had hoped for.
100%. I know there's no Uber Eats up here, that's for sure. So
I saw that in the Facebook group recently. Someone was asking if we had an Uber Eats service up here, and everyone was like, no.
yeah. But even in our area now, we do have a lot more seasonal businesses that have
Mhm.
really great products and services that are available to, particularly they cater particularly to cottagers. So that's good to know. And once again, it's partnering with an agent that can tell you about those things and make sure that you're in the right spot.
Exactly. And I hope that that's clear. It's not so much that we're lacking in services in cottage country, but it's more making sure the area you choose has the services that you want. And a lot of that in smaller areas is locally based. So, Facebook groups, like I mentioned, or having an agent that's really familiar with the area. That's how you make the connections with the people you need and figure out which businesses are open and when. Um, and just that knowing all of that will really make sure you're aligned in lifestyle. So lifestyle, financing, and then making sure you're aware of any, infrastructure issues that you might have to maintain or prepare when you move in.
100%. 100%. And that reminds me of the question we actually got when we did the course, and everyone got a laugh out of it. They said, "We can't find plumbers. We can't find these people." And then they said, the good people in cottage country, they probably don't even have a website. They probably don't even have an email address. And you need to know their phone number. And, you know, his wife is going to pick up the phone and take and write down a message, and he's going to call you back 3 days later. But those are the guys you want and need. And you need those relationships in cottage country. So, keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, and when David says those are the guys you want to need, it's because they know exactly what type of water you're working with. They
Mm,
know what the table's like wherever your property is. They know what the options are going to be for your particular property because they see it all the time, and it's very different per location. So absolutely agree. Um, yeah, so if you ever want to ask us more questions, maybe we'll do more of these sessions as they come in. What do you think?
Yeah, that's great. I think I know my clients really appreciate these things, and I'm sure yours do as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
once again, I'm David Purdy. I specialize in Kawartha Lakes and Bancroft area. And
Yeah,
Veronica?
and I'm Veronica Hissem. I specialize along the Lake Huron border from Port Elgin up into Oliphant. So if you have any questions in either of those areas, send them to us and we'll do another session just like this.
All right. Thanks a lot.